Welcome to the Career Jitsu podcast. Today we have an awesome guest. His name is Gary Gagliardi. Gary is an older gentleman that started Jiu-Jitsu at an older age. So we're going to have an opportunity to speak with somebody who found Jiu-Jitsu later in life and is killing it. He's been training for 9 years. So welcome to the podcast,
Thank
Gary.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. Gary, thanks so much for coming in. And this is going to be a great interview because you and I have a lot of things in common, right? We both started when we were older.
Yeah.
We're both teachers. We both like to help people. So why don't we kick this off by telling our listeners a little bit about how you got into teaching, what you like about it, and then we'll talk about your jiu-jitsu journey.
Sure. So getting into teaching was a little crazy. I can take this back to when I was in middle school. I was like the most big introvert, like didn't have any friends or anything, but I was really good at math. And my teacher would like not let me answer questions because, I got them all right. And one day he had me come up on the board to do the homework with everybody. And it was like a shock to my systems that they had the overhead projector. Like, this is way back in the day.
And you weren't expecting that?
I was not expecting that.
That's a lot of pressure.
It was. And it came out to be pretty cool because my fellow students are like raising their hands, wanting to know, like, hey, can you explain this and everything? And so I had that bug, but I'm like, I can never do that. Right. So I kind of fell into the business world. I got a degree in business. And I remember having to take a sales class because I was a marketing major. And I remember swearing to myself that I would never, ever, ever get in sales. What did I do most of my career?
Sales.
Eventually that led to management, wholesale branch management. And what I loved about that was I took my knowledge that I gained over years in sales and I was able to share that and mentor my employees. And I just really love that teaching aspect. You know, I guess a few years back, I was like, that bug stayed with me, like teaching. So I'm like, well, I had the best time of my life coaching my kids. I love kids. I love teaching. Why don't I just do that? Right. So I became a seventh grade math teacher way over my head. Right. Frankly, did not do a good job because it wasn't the teaching aspect, but it was the classroom management aspect.
Right. That's a whole other world. Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to go back to branch management. Right. So I did that. But then I had this opportunity to do tutoring. And I'm like, oh, this would be great because this is not managing a whole class. This is 1 to 5 students at a time. And that has been awesome. In my first semester, I lost half my students because they graduated. Just having that rapport with them, making it fun, teaching them at their level, trying to bring them up from where they are to where they need to be, explaining concepts in a way that they understand it has really helped my teaching quite a bit. I just get a real kick out of helping people along their journey. It's super satisfying to me. And yeah, I love what I do. So
it's one of the most rewarding jobs in the world.
Yeah.
When you can see that a student's going from here to here because of something that you've done. And I think it's very admirable that you found something you liked, but the component you said, the classroom management, because it really is like 2 different jobs.
Yeah.
Classroom management is a whole different skill set than the conveyance of knowledge, right? And I like the way you said, this isn't working for me. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to reset. And then I'm still going to find my place in teaching.
Yeah.
And you found, and that's a real niche too. There's not a lot of schools that have that, what you're talking about. Full-time dedicated person for 1 to 5 people. So you're getting really everything you wanted, the one-on-one and the teaching without having to manage 30 kids in a classroom who are like, he poked me. She said this. You get to do exactly, you distilled it down to what you wanted.
Sure. But these 1 to 5 kids I have are half-hour sessions.
Right.
So I have over 100 students, but like 9 sessions.
That's a really neat dynamic.
It is.
Right. So you're not getting bored
Not at all.
because you see different kids and
different grades, different levels,
right.
Different personalities.
Right.
Yeah.
And so do you have some of the kids for year after year after year?
Well, I started this particular job in November.
Okay.
And it's been
all right.
going,
You might have the same kids for a few years.
hopefully not. Hopefully they don't need me. Like my job is to put myself out of a job.
I
You know what I'm
understand.
saying?
Yeah. So
So,
once they're at par, then they go back. They
yeah,
streamline back
yeah.
in.
So I've already lost half of the ones I had in the first semester, and then some dropped down, and now I'm working with them. But also there's some accelerated students who are beyond what are in this school.
Oh,
So
so you're
now I'm
getting both ends of the bell curve.
so with this semester that we just started, now I'm adding on those students so we can stretch them and grow them so they're not limited by what's going on in the class.
That is something that is, and I understand why, because of limited resources. When you look at the bell curve of special needs,
Yeah.
right? Most of the resources, and it should be this way, go to the kids who need the extra help.
Yeah.
Like the kids who are gifted get nothing,
Right.
right? They just have to sit and be bored sometimes. So I really think that's an amazing thing where they're saying we're going to get both ends of the bell curve,
Right.
and we're going to give them both of the special education that they need, because people usually don't think about
Right.
special education for the more advanced kids.
Right.
And that must be fun for you too, right? It keeps
Yeah.
you challenged
They-
for your
yeah.
lesson plans and things like that.
Yeah, they're a lot of well, they're all a lot of fun, but they like thirst for knowledge because now we're opening them up to things that they're not getting in the class.
Right.
Yeah, we could just have a blast.
I'm going to just go way off script for a second because
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Maybe our listeners might be too. Since you have a lot of experience in sales, what is one or two of the biggest lessons you've learned in your sales career that you try to teach people who are breaking into sales? Because sales applies to life. It's dealing with a lot of rejection.
Right. Absolutely. So I was in customer service and I had an opportunity to be the customer service manager or to go into sales. And at the time, I had just gotten married, had a couple kids, and we needed money to get a house. And the money was in the sales. So I did what I didn't want to do.
Right.
My approach to sales was not to sell something that for the sake of selling it. I was fortunate that I was in a wholesale, working for a wholesale company. So we had a whole variety of products that if I put the solution together, it's going to help those businesses be successful. So it's more of a consultative sales, like, if help them out, help them with the technology. So I got to the point where I was like an extension of my customer's business, where they'd call me up and say, "Hey, I got this problem, do you have a solution for this?" And of course I had a variety of things. My approach was if you help them and you genuinely care about their business and their interests, the money will come. You will get the business. But the idea is you go and help your customer with the products, you give them at a fair price, and you build that rapport with them and you develop that relationships. And I'm still friends with customers I've had over 10 years ago because we have that rapport. We built it up. We built that trust.
So you basically flipped the script.
Uh-huh.
Instead of saying I'm going to go after sales, I'm going to go after profits. You said I'm going to go after getting to know my customer, having a relationship, finding them solutions. Don't worry about the profit. That'll come later. So you kind of reverse the typical old school sales. That's interesting. Wisdom right there for anybody who's in sales.
I like how you said that you wanted to do. You found something at first. You felt like you were doing that because you had to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that we go through phases in our life where we're raising family or we have all these responsibilities, and so we do what we have to do.
Yeah.
But then I think like as you get older and wiser, you start to realize life is too short to just do what I have to do. I'm going to do what I want to do now.
For sure.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you found jujitsu, right? Eventually you said to yourself, I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
I need to take care of myself. So can you tell us how you found jujitsu?
Oh my gosh, that's a story. Hopefully it's an interesting story. So eventually, after 20 years of marriage, I got divorced. I'm like, I talk about not being athletic. I did nothing. Like I was just,
Couch potato?
yes, like a professional couch potato. Like,
Wow. High level, black
yeah,
belt,
yeah,
black belt
It
level
was a black belt in couch
couch
potato.
potato.
yeah, like not school, not anything. And I was pretty busy when I was a dad because my wife was a nurse, worked nights and weekends along in the times, and so we were pretty busy raising 4 kids. But then I realized, okay, I'm going to be on my own. I can't be a couch potato the rest of my life. I got to do something. I'm like, what can I do? So the only athletic thing I've ever done is play pickup basketball. Not just, and that was like 20 years before that. I'm like, so I looked around and there was this over 30 league in my town. I'm like, oh, great. A bunch of couch potatoes like me will go throw the ball around and have some fun. So thankfully, there's no trial, right? You just pay and you're in. And so I get in there, and it's like everybody in the league, if they didn't play college, they played high school, and they're like all super athletes. And I'm like, this is not good. This is not good. So when the season starts, they have kind of like a round robin, 2 hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so you can do 3 or 4 hours and get in there. But then they have a draft, right? And me and my buddy, I got him involved. Guess who was 70? It was like 70 to 70. It was like what, right? That's one. Line up against you. Okay, captains.
Yeah. Like back to your days in middle school. You know what? Don't pick me last.
You realized you were the last pick and you were like, maybe this isn't for me.
Well, here's what really tipped it off, right? Because we went from 3 or 4 hours to now it's a 40-minute game. That's it for the week. And out of the 40 minutes, how much do you think I played?
2.
Maybe not a lot, right? Maybe 10.
If you were up by
10
points.
it depends on the game, but
So you became a bench warmer.
yeah. And I'm like, okay, this is not exactly 10 minutes a week is not exactly what I was looking for. So I'm like, okay, now what do I do? So I do what a lot of people do. I look at the Planet Fitness. I'm going to go to Planet Fitness. So I go to Planet Fitness and I do that. I don't like lifting weights. I have 2 brothers who've been doing it since their teens and they're still doing it and they're really good at it. I don't know why it's fun for them. It's not fun for me. But I did it for a couple years. And then once I stopped, I tapped out as far as, doing more weight. I just kept sustaining it. And I would do treadmill or elliptical or bike. And it was like not fun. I was really bored. And I stopped going. And then I felt really guilty because like, okay, you weren't doing a lot and now you're doing nothing. And it's like, what am I going to do? The basketball experience wasn't really great for me. And so through a business associate in Chamber of Commerce, I met this health expert. I was blessed to meet her. Her name is Carol Phillips. If I could
shout out.
Oh, can I plug her?
Yeah.
She was writing a book at the time I was talking to her. And we were kind of friends. And I said, Carol, can you help me out here? I hadn't been going to work out at Planet Fitness. I'm like, I'm just bored with it. What should I do? She said, stop going. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, stop going. Gyms have been around since the 70s, and people think that that's the only way you can be in shape. But prior to that, we didn't have any, big out of shape people going around. It's like, do something that you enjoy and try out a bunch of different things. And she gave me a whole bunch of suggestions. And I'm like, okay, that gave me the encouragement to go out and try something. And by the way, that book that she wrote is phenomenal. It's called 52 Ways to Health, Simple Ways to Health, and they are simple.
Carol Phillips, 52 Ways.
Simple Ways to Health.
Simple Ways to Help.
And
Look it up.
And we'll put the link in the.
Yeah, we'll put the link to the book in our yes.
Yeah. And can I say a couple things about why it's so awesome? One, I don't read because I have the attention span of a gnat. By the time I get down to the page, my mind is on something else. But it's so awesome because it's interesting and it's 2.5 pages per chapter.
Short chapters.
Yeah. And they're all common sense, relevant. They're like sustainable. You can actually do them. They're very positive. I bought these books for my family, for my friends. And it's just, I don't plug anything, but that one I will.
Okay.
So she gave me that advice, and just knowing her
was BJJ on the list of things?
No, I don't think she even knows anything about
BJJ. Okay.
I'm like, what do I do? And in the meantime, I'm surfing channels and I come across Spike TV. I don't even know if that's around anymore, but they had The Ultimate Fighter on, and I started watching that. And it's MMA, right? And they take these prospective UFC fighters and they put them in a mansion and they have 2 teams and they show training and everything. And then they have fights at the end. And what really piqued my interest was you got to see the training, right? And I'm like, I've seen UFC fights before, but I never knew what was behind the training. And then I started seeing it. And then I saw the Jiu-Jitsu and I'm like, that is so cool. I could not believe how technical it was.
Right.
And the strategies involved. And I'm like, that is so interesting. And I'm like, well, I'm in my mid-50s now. I was 54 years old. I'm like,
you heard that, listeners. He started jiu-jitsu at age 54.
Yeah.
No excuses.
And I'm like, can I do this? I'm like, no, I can't do this. can I do this? No. So I kind of hemmed and hawed about it. And I'm like, I'm going to call. So I called the first person I found in the book and had a conversation. Like, you know what? Yeah, older people come in 2-week trial, see if you like it. We see if you like you. If it all works, we'll sign you up. So I go and I did not know what to expect. And by the time I got there, I was so out of shape that it wasn't funny. I was like 235 pounds, but all fat, like no muscle whatsoever. And doing the warm up just to jog around
Was on high intensity training, right?
more than you know, because I had exercise asthma. So once I jogged around just a little bit, I would go into my bag and pull out my inhaler.
Do you still have that?
I have it, but I haven't used it. I'll tell you when the last time I used it was 7.5 years ago on my blue belt test.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So you had exercise asthma.
Yeah. I would wheeze if I worked too hard.
You were 54.
Yeah.
You threw yourself in.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, if you roll with Gary, he's a solid. You're solid.
Yeah.
So that's transforming.
Yeah, that's a lot of obstacles right there. Age,
Asthma.
overweight,
Right?
asthma. So you had a lot of things going against you.
Yeah.
But you found that jujitsu was something that was so individualistic.
Yeah.
That you only had to depend on yourself.
Yeah.
And you found a way, to just make improvements a little bit at a time. Now you are, for our listeners, Gary is how old now, Gary?
63.
63 years old. Okay. He's a brown belt, been training jujitsu for 9 years. And I have seen him rolling with like some teens in our dojo. I've seen him rolling with 25-year-olds that are competitors, and he'll do a 5-minute roll and keep up with them. And he's barely breathing. And those guys are like in the corner, like, huffing and puffing. So,
Yeah, it's
so
amazing. It's like put him in a time machine back to his 30s. Isn't that crazy?
Well,
Because it
funny you
doesn't
say
feel
that.
like
Yeah.
doesn't feel like
Because
you're a 60.
I tell people that I am in the best shape of my life, which sounds crazy, but it's true because I never did anything before that.
Right.
And now I've been actual training for years, but I'm not training for the sake of training. I'm training because I love it for a lot of different reasons. And the incremental improvement that you were talking about just comes from loving doing it. It's first day I had my coach was 18 or 19 years old. And here I am, 54, and I'm being trained by this teenager.
Right.
Who was awesome, super positive, and just learning the basics like positions and, how to do maybe a submission. And I'm like, okay, now I'm relating it to what I was seeing on TV. This is what I was looking for. And I would like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to learn next time and next time. But I kind of thought that they would fire me because I was like way out of shape. And, when I talk about when I was jogging around, I'd have to stop. And then we'd do some exercise, and then I'd have to like do every other exercise or every third exercise. And even when we were doing instructional training, you probably never had this before, but I would have to take breaks from instructional training. I'd be like, I need an OMB, an old man break. And I'd go over, sit down, grab some water, maybe eat my inhaler. I was working hard. And that took like about a year for me to not use my inhaler anymore.
So here's something that I want our listeners to understand. I believe in most BJJ gyms, you would find that everybody's totally supportive of you going at your pace.
100%. I would not be here any other way. I would not, because I don't know of anybody who's come into this situation as bad a shape as I was in. The reason why I'm here is because I kept coming, like no other reason. Like I kept coming because I wanted to come. I wanted to learn. It was fun. It was engaging. I built up rapport with, my fellow team members. And you guys know me now. It's like I like to, even when I'm in a good role, I like to chat and have fun. And
Right.
it's a serious role, but I'm having fun.
Yeah.
And I love exchanging ideas and stuff like that. Learning, we're talking about, I equate learning jujitsu like a mountain. You're climbing a mountain of knowledge, but the higher you climb, the bigger the mountain gets. And I love that because I want to keep learning. I don't ever want to stop learning. Learn new techniques, And you guys taught me stuff like I've never seen before after 9 years. So it's just so cool. It's so much fun. I can't tell you how much fun it is. It's like when I've had to take the break, maybe over Christmas vacation, I'll go hug my wife. I'll come behind her and I'll give her a sweet hug and then kind of work in a weird naked throw.
She have her defense down.
No, she doesn't. Her good defense is knocked it off.
That defense is with you like all, and then bam, when you're not looking, she gets you back.
Yeah, it's like you need to go back to.
Yeah. Yeah. You said something interesting there, Gary, about, the physical and mental. I talk about this a lot with members of our gym, how, you can go to a gym, you can go on a treadmill, you can lift weights, and you can make exercise as fun as you can. But there's nothing that makes jujitsu more fun than makes exercise more fun than jujitsu.
Oh, for sure.
You're engaged 100%. We talk about that all the time. You're always engaged,
Right.
so you're getting that physical benefit from it. You're building your cardiovascular endurance, your muscular strength and endurance, your flexibility. But then you're also getting that intellectual stimulation. You mentioned about like you feel like the mountain always gets higher,
Yeah.
and you feel like you always can learn more.
For sure.
Having that intellectual stimulation to always learn keeps you going.
Absolutely.
Keeps you moving forward. And
And
you're an example.
a living example of it. And I think the thing that you can say about jujitsu is I have never in my life heard somebody say, I'm sure somebody said it, but I've never heard it. It gets boring after a while. There's no way you can get bored because there's so many basics to go back to. And then there's also some cool ninja moves. If you're getting bored, you have like a lot of like roll over, grab.
You're bored. Let me show you this.
Yeah. So, and there's so many different levels to the game and dimensions to the game that your brain is never like, oh, this again, right? Because there's always something else. There's always a new technique. There's always a new partner. There's a new guy coming into your gym from a different gym. And he's like, let me show you some of the things we do. There's always something new to stimulate you and keep you pushing ahead. I do have a question for you.
Can I just add on to something you said? So what's also really fun, like super fun about when you're doing rolls is I consider it like playing chess and a full body exercise because when I'm in a roll with somebody, they want to put a move on me and I need to block their move and I need to try to put a move on them without them catching me. And so we have this mental strategy going through the whole time. And we're using our full body to position ourselves to implement it. And that is a whole lot of fun. It's not like I'm on a treadmill doing nothing. I'm thinking the whole time. I'm strategizing. I'm looking for the defense, right? And I'm having fun doing it.
Yes.
And you're a math teacher, so you already can problem solve.
Problem solve. Yeah. 3-dimensional problem solve.
Has jujitsu helped your math?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu helped me
teach math?
Yeah. Because you have to strategize. Like in jujitsu, when you're in a roll, a lot of the time you come up in a situation or somebody puts you in a situation where you weren't expecting and you need to pivot and you need to stop and you think and you can't, when you have kids in front of you, you just can't be like, okay, kids, you sit right there.
Let me figure this out. Right.
No, you need to think on your feet. And same with business, especially when I was a branch manager, like if it hit the fan, guess who had to deal with it? You did. And you had to be calm and you had to think through the solution while the other person's, not in the best frame of mind. You have to think it through, be the calm one, work out the solution right then and there. And jujitsu, it definitely helps you do that because you get under pressure and you have to figure your way out. It's not, it's not always easy.
It's, you know what? I remember Conor McGregor said something that he thought his hands were fast and his reflexes were fast because he played a lot of video games. And there is some research that shows if you play video games, your hand-eye coordination is faster than the average person. I think it's the same thing with jujitsu. People who do jujitsu, their ability to problem solve on their feet in their business is a little bit faster. They're used to, especially like you said, under pressure. If something doesn't go well in the classroom, you can kind of start to lose control of where you were starting to go. And you feel that because I do, even as a seasoned teacher. I'm like, oh wait a second, I'm getting on track. But jujitsu teaches you to problem solve in the moment with whatever's thrown at you, the unexpected, and to say, okay, this is unexpected, let me see, I have some options here.
Yeah, it's critical thinking in real time.
That's the word.
Perfect.
Write that down. Critical thinking
Yeah.
in real time.
Yeah, I mean, in a role, you're rolling with friends, right? So
Right.
yeah, you could say, "Hold on, stop for a second," you know. But in real life, in self defense, for example, you know, you have an altercation or something. It's not like you're in the middle of a fight. You can say, hold on, let me think about what I need to
Yeah.
do here." So jujitsu really builds that real time critical thinking in the sense, and it applies into people's careers, you know, such as yours. Kids are challenging too. Like, you know, you have 5 or 6 kids in a room, and there's a lot of dynamics. You know, if all those kids have come from different backgrounds, you know, you can lose control of even 5 kids pretty quickly. If you're not
They're
able
not
to
careful.
manage,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. You have to be disciplined for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. So can we talk about I know that like as people, I know I've gotten older. I'm going to be 50 years old this year. And I've noticed even myself, and I'm sure that you have being 63, um, that over time in your life, your friends start to become less. You know, you have good, solid people in your life and solid friends that you can hang around with. But the camaraderie, it kind of like starts to dwindle, especially if you're not involved in some activity. You know, if you're just going to work and just doing your work, doing your job, an 8-hour job, 10-hour job, whatever, coming back home, you start to get lonely because you're like, I don't really have a lot of friends. I have maybe 2 friends that I can like call.
Opposite of the college
Um,
experience, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it happens more as you get older. So, can you talk to listeners, Gary, a little bit about your experience with jujitsu and how it has helped you socially, how it has helped you? Because I know you told me that one of the big reasons why you do jujitsu later in life right now is for the camaraderie.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. When you go somewhere and you're training as closely as you train in jujitsu, and that's the closest you can get in any sport is doing jujitsu, and you do it week after week. I like to go 3 days a week and for like a couple hours a week. So you're talking a good amount of time every week for year after year, and you build up relationships. And like I said, it's not even during a role. I'll talk with somebody, but you're in there, you're doing the same thing, you're sharing knowledge, you're sharing the same experience.
And the trust component.
You, I mean, have to have so much trust because you're put in voluntary. You put yourself in a position where you can get hurt, and you trust that your partner is not going to hurt you, and they trust that you're not going to hurt them, and that's top of the list. You can't roll with somebody you don't trust.
100%.
And then that leads to relationships outside of jujitsu. And the amount of people from different backgrounds is insane. It's like
It's a cross section.
from a guy who builds sheds on his own to doctors.
Yeah.
To and
Programmers,
any
electrician.
left wing,
Yeah.
right wing.
It's a legitimate cross section of demographics.
It's incredible. But when you have your gis on and you wouldn't even know what anybody's background, like you wouldn't even know. It's like you're all there, you're all having fun, you're all learning, you're all sharing together. And that experience carries out outside. It just does.
You know, it is true that you get this wide variety of backgrounds, experiences. At the same time, did you notice jujitsu has a way of filtering out people who are not humble, who are narcissistic, people who are not empathetic? It has a way of filtering them out pretty quickly so that, yeah, you get people from all walks of life. But if you look at our gym, and I'm sure most are like this, you look around, a lot of these people are savages, but they're humble, they're kind, they're smart, they're thoughtful. So I think it's really cool that we have all the differences, yet the common denominators as far as your moral fiber.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if you're in a good gym with a good community, that is like a natural filtration process. People just, if they're not fitting into the culture, because they have issues, and they just naturally, what I've noticed over the years is they just go, just go on their own way,
For sure.
And I think, one of the things that I appreciate about you, Gary, is that you really took the time to find a gym that you really, that fit for you,
For sure.
And I think you would give that as advice. I mean, would you, anybody who's looking into jujitsu, the first advice that you would give them would be that, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because my journey led me to jujitsu at a later time in life. Do I wish I was done it? Maybe yes, yes,
Don't we all?
right. But I'm been blessed that I found it, right? But I'm not going to tournaments competing with athletic, folks. That's not why I got into it. I like to learn. I like to challenge myself. I like to be competitive, but not to that extent, right? And you have to find a place that fits you. Like some people won't have that drive where they want to be in national tournaments and they have super high intense, right? That's not for me. When I roll, I don't want it to be like I have to win every single roll that I do, right? It's not about that. Or I don't want people like trying to smoke me. I want them to use their jujitsu, not use their strength or their aggression on me, right? Do, do, does that happen sometimes? Yes. Do I know how to deal with it? Well, now I do.
But you don't want that to be the
I don't want that to be the whole thing, right? And you also get a vibe for the people, for the instructors. Like, are they good personality? Do they know what they're doing? Do they are they do they teach you in a way that you are receptive to it?
right.
Right. And so the culture that you talked about is probably the biggest thing. Is it the kind of culture that works for you? And there's different cultures and there's different people for different cultures.
And it's your journey. It's not anybody else's journey but yours. Getting out of jujitsu what you want to get out of jujitsu. If that's what's happening for you, then that's great.
Yeah.
And there's a saying like, not all black belts are created equal. Not all brown belts are. Not all purple belts are. Not all blue belts are. People get into this whole concept of like rank and this person's a blue belt, so they should be this skilled and that good, and this person's a brown belt and they've been training for 9 years. Brown belt, and you've been training for 9 years. You should be able to kill that purple belt. And it's
Right.
people get into that.
It's a very toxic way.
Ranking situation,
Ranking.
Yeah. But your brown belt is your brown belt.
Right.
You're not comparing your brown belt to the competitor that's 28 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Brown belt, So
Yeah.
I had recently a white belt come over and didn't want to roll with me because I was a brown belt. And I'm like,
That white belt doesn't realize that.
I'm a nice guy. I'm not gonna, we're gonna have fun.
That's such a misconception.
I do love this.
The best listen, white belts out there.
Yeah.
You want to roll in black belts because they will take care of you.
Yeah.
You don't want to roll with like some football player who's got 2 stripes.
I mean, I'll be honest too, though. Like sometimes, like I'll look at somebody that's an older gentleman like Gary. If I see him and he's a brown belt, I automatically am thinking to myself, "Oh God, he must be good."
Yeah.
Like because he is going to think. He's going to move methodically. He's going to be technical.
He's not going to be a lot of windows open.
Sorry, my language, but there's going to be a shitload of pressure.
Yes, and there is. Because pressure is unreal.
I don't have a lot of tools, but I use a couple of the tools that I have.
The tools that you use are very good because I felt the pressure, and you don't leave a lot of windows open. You don't. It's hard to, and I think that's great because that's energy saving.
Yeah.
It's tight.
You have to. We talked about this. You have to.
You don't want to leave people.
You can't
space.
You can't be going all. You have to know how to conserve.
You don't want to scramble. That's the last thing you want.
You learn defense, and the reason why I've gotten pretty good at defense is because I've been getting.
Same here. Same here. When you start with older, you get great defense. But if you think about it, isn't that awesome to have in case you ever need self-defense?
Yeah.
You have great defense, right? Yeah. Quick question. If you can give our viewers who are a little bit older advice on longevity, like what are some of your tips for people starting in their 60s, their 50s, their 70s, their 40s? What would you say to them? Because you've had 9 years now at a later stage in life. You're doing great. What are some of your tips? Give us like 3 or 4 of your major tips for people that are in a similar situation.
Sure. One, like we talked about, find a gym or dojo that's got a good culture that's supportive of you. Like I came into a situation where everything was super positive, super patient. I can go at my pace, and it kept it fun. it kept learning. So being in the right place, you might have to try a number of places before you find the one that works for you. Don't be afraid to try. Like I hemmed it on, like I said, and I did it, and it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. Don't go in with unrealistic expectations. Just go in with the attitude that you want to learn something. So it's a learning experience and do it day by day, but just keep on going. Just like keep on going because you're going to get a little bit better. Sometimes it might seem like you're plateauing, but you are getting better and better and better. And I didn't realize that I was getting better till like 6 months in when the brand new people came in and I discovered that I was better than they were.
Right.
But I didn't know that I was getting better.
Because it's
All I knew was,
so gradual.
it is
Right.
so gradual.
It's very
It's
gradual.
it's crazy. And all I knew was that I was having fun and that I was learning stuff
Mm.
and that I was getting healthier and I was meeting people. Um, but yeah, just go in with the expectation that you're there to learn, you're there to have fun, you're to meet people, you're not trying to win any competitions. Like you don't have to win a competition. You're not going to get killed when you get in there. Like people are worried that, people are going to wipe the mat with them. It's not like that at all. They're there to help you grow. They're not there to like
To destroy.
destroy you. They want you as part of the team, right? So they're gonna help you along your way as much as you're gonna put into it. They're gonna help you along the way because they want you to get to your journey, just like us as teachers, right? We want all of us as teachers. We want our students to succeed, right? And they can't succeed unless, they provide an atmosphere and a culture for you to succeed. So if you're thinking about it, give it a try. It's really, you don't have much to lose. And for the many reasons we talked about, it's so much fun. And I would not be doing this after 9 years if it wasn't fun. I can promise you that.
One of my friends who's also a teacher has a quote that I absolutely love. It said, there could be no true learning without an element of fun.
Yeah.
And I think your story embodies that. I agree with everything you said as an old man myself, old man jiu-jitsu, old man. Um, and I would also add one other thing that harking back to Jason's quote about it's your journey and marrying that with the quote you said about you don't even realize you're getting better. When you're older, the progress is a little bit slower.
Yeah.
So sometimes, and I still have a problem with this, you'll see a new guy come in who, they suck in the beginning like everybody else. But the slope of their progression is a steeper slope than my progression.
Yeah.
And I think you have to understand as an older person what Jason said. That's great for that athletic guy. That's awesome. But this is your journey and you're still improving too
Yes.
at your rate.
Absolutely.
Don't compare yourself or you'll be miserable.
That's a great point because I've had white belts get really frustrated. I could see the frustration on their face. What is the matter? I'm not doing well. I'm like, why do you say that? So and so is doing way better than I am. I'm like, please do not ever compare yourself to somebody else. Compare yourself to you. I've been training with you for months now, and let me tell you, the person in front of me is way better than the person I met months ago. That's all you need to think about.
Dead on.
Yeah. So,
And doesn't that apply to careers and life and everything you're trying to do?
absolutely.
Get better in your career. Maybe you're doing accounting, maybe you're doing teaching, and somebody else comes in and okay, maybe they have a little faster, steeper learning curve or a flatter learning curve, but that's on them. You have your learning curve.
Comparison is a thief of joy, right?
Yeah.
Dead on. Wisdom.
This has been inspirational. Yeah, inspirational for our viewers, our listeners. Usually we do some takeaways here, but so if you have any takeaways,
Just general.
like kind of a recap to
Yeah. I think there's one thing that I really respect about you, and I think this is inspirational for me, Jason, and our listeners, is an overarching theme of life is a journey. And in 2 cases, you told me that you tried something that you liked, but you failed, and then you modified it so you could succeed, right? I think the basketball example was a great example. Like, I got to get out there. I got to do something. You went out there, you did this league, which kind of made you feel a little bit bad.
Yeah.
Drafted last,
Yeah.
right? 2 minutes of playing time. But instead of just going back to being a black belt couch potato,
Yeah.
you said, what's next?
Yeah.
I like the activity part,
Yeah.
but I don't like that I'm not getting playing time. And with teaching, you did the same thing.
Yeah.
You're like, I love teaching, but I realize teaching a full classroom is not in my bailiwick. That's not my thing. So let me take a step back. I still want to teach. And then you found the perfect niche
Yeah.
that fits you.
Yeah.
So I love that overarching theme of it's okay. Keep trying new things until you find, because now you're a happy person. You're a fulfilled person.
Absolutely.
And the other thing, the big takeaway that I think you taught us for older people, good God, try jujitsu. Or if it's not jujitsu, try tennis or pickleball or
Yeah.
something, because you need to find a place where you're A, having fun, B, there's a culture of camaraderie, and C, you're growing at your own pace. And if you could do those 3 things at any age, you're going to become a beast.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Larry.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for
Always a pleasure. And to our listeners,
And to our listeners, we have some calls to action here. So one of the things that I wanted to mention is that we now started getting sponsors for our podcast, because we've been doing 30, we have 35, 30, I think by the time we release this, it will be like 36 or 37 episodes. So every week we're delivering valuable content every week for our viewers and listeners. So jump on the bandwagon. We would love to have you on as a sponsor of our podcast. So if you know anybody out there that would be wanting to jump on and get exposure for their business or whatever their endeavors are, that would be great.
we'll take you to the next level as you have taken us to the next level. And also, if you do like our podcast and you do listen to it, the best thing you can do to help us is share it with somebody. Email it to somebody, share it on your Facebook, Insta, Finsta, Snappity Chat, and just get us out there, because the more viewers we have, the better fuel we have to keep going.
And we could not do this without our viewers, without our listeners, right? We can't, we rely on you, and we rely on your consistency. So listen every week. And if you don't listen every week, you listen every other week, catch up and listen to 2 episodes per week, every other week. Or maybe you'll listen to 4 episodes every month. So you've listened to 4 in 1 week, a whole month worth.
Consistency.
I've had some listeners tell me that they've caught up in 1 weekend.
That's awesome.
Weekend.
Hey, people are binging. Binge watch.
It literally went through and listened to like 20 episodes. And like
Netflix has nothing on us. Definitely. And sending out a big hug to you. Bam. Hope you got that. Lots of love. Peace out.
Bye, guys.